Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday Perspective podcast. And the music's loud, so it's all right.
Oh,
My, my name is Dragonfire. With me, as always, I have Punky.
Hello.
Yeah. And with me, I have Telly. Oh, wait. Actually, it's Patrick Mahomes today.
hello everybody, my name is Patrick Mahomes. I'm here. I'm happy to be on the podcast today, my first time, and I'm with my best friend, Senator Bernie Sanders. Bernie, say hello. Hello everybody, my name is Bernie Sanders, and I'm here because the price of maple syrup and ricotta cheese is too damn high. You gotta say about that, Dragon?
It really is. That's true.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
inflation, am I right?
Inflation. That's true. It's crazy. Anyway.
Crazy kids.
Right,
Chat.
crazy kids nowadays, right?
Right.
That's the crazy kid.
But yes, guys.
Says crazy kid.
So, yeah, we got a real special one for you guys.
Mhm.
Because for the past, I think, what has it been, like 3 weeks? 2 weeks? Something like that.
Yeah.
We've been, trying to get our guest into the podcast to talk about, their experience in the theater world. And everybody, please welcome Rue. Rue, welcome to the Sunday
hello.
Perspective podcast.
Welcome
How you
in,
doing?
welcome here.
Thank you. I'm so flattered. I didn't realize I was such a get.
I mean, hey, that's the treatment we give to our guests. We gotta,
That's right.
royalty.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm down. If people want to treat me like this all the time, I'm super you can tell my boss that like this is how it needs to go from now on.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be. But
All right.
yeah. So,
Dragon, we got Flango in the chat.
Flango, what's up? Welcome in.
How's it going, Flango? Welcome to the chat.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
I don't know.
You guys have so many inside jokes. I don't know what any
Yeah.
of this means.
It's insane. It's actually insane.
You're gonna have to explain all of that to me later, because I do not know what.
We will.
Alright.
Yeah, we will.
It's all chaos. It's just all chaos. This is what I was saying earlier. This is how the chaos starts.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, all right. So we've got a bunch of questions for you that we're gonna ask on our lovely, lovely sheets.
I didn't study. I'm not prepared.
That's okay.
Oh
That's
no,
okay.
it's good.
That's all good.
It's an open book test.
Open
Oh,
book
great.
test.
If I
exactly.
fail
It's a
another
test.
class, I can't take 6th grade over again.
Oh, believe me, same thing happened to me in 5th grade.
See, I didn't think 5th grade was that bad, but like this is my 7th year in 6th grade, and it really feels like I should have passed it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate. Yeah.
I'm disappointed in myself,
Don't even get me started on boarding school class.
Oh my God, no.
How
Boarding
many did I
school-
need to pass?
you got boarding school, you've got acting school, you've got 5th grade, like 6
Clown
times.
school. I have a clown degree.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's
There you
important.
go.
They're the
Yeah.
essentials.
Yeah, of course. The essential. As one does. But yeah, if anybody would like to start first, or I can kick this off as well first too.
I guess my question goes basically to the very beginning. How old were you when you realized that you wanted to get into theater and acting?
I like to joke that all the important life decisions I made in middle school, and I have not deviated from any of them. I also like to joke that I do everything out of revenge, and that's where this story begins, because I knew that I liked acting and performing and all that. I'm one of 7 kids, so starved for attention if there ever was someone that was starved for attention. And yeah, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, this is fun. And then when I was in middle school, we were doing this production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was in 6th grade. One of the many times I was in 6th grade. I was so excited because I was Grandma Josephine, who, if you're not familiar, if she's the one who gets to do the "I like grapes. And she goes to like, you smell like peanuts. And he's like, you smell like old people. And me, a 6th grader, was like, role of a lifetime. And I was so excited. And then Grandpa George, the non-essential grandpa, dropped out. And they were like, it was like 2 weeks before the show. And they were like, hey, 6th grader, I know you're what, like 11, but just memorize this part in 2 weeks. And then when inevitably during the show, I flubbed one of these lines because I'm 11 and it, you know, whatever. The drama teacher was like, you're not allowed in my shows anymore. And I was like, fine. So I went to the high school for 7th grade. They were doing Seussical the Musical, and they were like, well, we need some middle schoolers to play the Who's, you know, to create height differential between the high schoolers.
Yep.
And I was like all about that because I was like, banned from the middle school drama club, I'll just move up to the high school one. And yeah, from there, I had another drama teacher who seemed to not particularly enjoy my enthusiasm. And I like got all these little tiny side parts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could do your job better than you. And then I went to school for directing, mostly because, again, all my decisions I made out of revenge in middle school. So that's how we got here.
And
Does that sufficiently answer your
yeah,
question?
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
And
I love it.
just kind of breaking this down for anybody who is listening to us on Spotify, anybody who is new, this is very much like a discussion based thing. So like any question that I launch to our guest is also launched to the other host, so they can
That's
answer
right.
should they choose to. Even I will answer that, and we of course have a live chat that will ask questions as
Yep.
well sometimes, so you'll have that happen. And yeah, so that's kind of how it works. So
Yeah.
with that said, does anybody else want to answer that question?
I'll just say, like, I basically, since I remember when I was little, I used to write my own little horror movies, and I would try to act them out, and I would act out my favorite movies and shit like that. So probably since I was, for sure, I remember it like being 5 years old, but probably even before that.
Nice.
My thing with of like theater and kind of film was, you know, I was never really much of an actor. I was more of like a singer and a performer in that sort of sense. But for me, like, as a result of that, you know, I was like, my first real thing came in high school when I was like, okay, I like to sing. They're singing in this play. Let's audition for it. What could possibly go wrong? And it was Annie. I ended up getting casted for Drake for that, so that was fun.
Nice.
You mean you didn't get cast as Annie?
Right, I auditioned for Annie. I would have been a great Annie.
You're clearly the correct choice for Annie.
Of course,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Ugh.
Fucking racist.
You see,
Right.
Exactly.
see what I mean?
Exactly, yeah,
they don't know
definitely.
star power when they see it.
Yeah.
I know. All these middle school drama teachers, God.
Right.
Right.
Which we'll get to. I have I have a horror story to share with that. But anyway, that yeah, we have. But yeah, okay. I will launch my second question. Oh, because first question already got answered.
Okay.
Tell us about your first show. What was that like?
My very first show?
Very first show.
Oh, shoot. Okay, my very first show was probably, I did A Christmas Story.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I had to have been like 6, 7 maybe, because I don't remember a whole lot from it, to be honest. It was with arcade area Attica Railroad, whatever. I don't know. It's a long name. Whatever that. Sorry to that community theater, but whatever the name of that community theater is. Myself and 2 of my brothers were in A Christmas Story, and the older of us three got cast as Scut Farkus.
Oh.
So, yeah, all my little brother and I really had to do was run away and scream and act like we were afraid of our older brother, which, like, you know, when you're kids, really not hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And like all the scenes that were like in the school, I remember I was terrified of the teacher, the actress who like played the teacher. I met her years later when I did another show with this production company, and I like didn't even realize that she was the same person. And she of course didn't remember me because I was just one of these like little kids, you know. And it was like 10 years later, and yeah, I don't know, the whole thing was very like, you know, when you're a kid and you're like, oh, this is fun. I'm just doing, you know, I go and I run across the stage, and then I hang out backstage, and then I go and I run across the stage again.
Right.
Oh, it
Yeah,
sounds like
I don't
fun.
remember much more from that though. I was pretty young when we did that one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
All right. I could ask one next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can answer this question too if you want to, if anybody's got a.
Okay, what was the question again?
So tell us about your first show. I actually want to know
Okay,
this
that's
from you,
actually a-
Sally. I
that's a
want to
good-
know this. Yeah.
There we go. That's a good one. Okay, I'd say my first show was actually, well, you were in it too, Dragon. It was Shakespeare As You Like It with Inclusive Theater last year. We talked about it a little. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit on the podcast before. It was a lot of fun. We were in the what was it called, Meeting House.
Yeah.
Made a lot of cool friends there. Saw some familiar faces. It was really fun. I had a good time with it. Very good cast. Fun group of people to work with. I just had a good time start to finish. I would definitely do it again. Like,
that show is one of my favorite experiences. That was literally
Me
the
too.
First time, right? First
easily one of
time-
my highlights of the last year.
It was the first time I ever got the opportunity to direct. So I did musical direction.
Oh, that's right.
And literally a week before the show was supposed to open, the company owner was like, the ones who were producing the show, they were like, yeah, we want you to also direct the music. I'm like, there's 1 week left. They were like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
Now I'm kind of sad because I was supposed to be, I don't know if you guys were aware, I was supposed to be Rosalind.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes,
You
Yeah. In the
yes.
script. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was coming off of like doing 3 shows in a row.
Mhm.
And like at the time I really hated my job, and I was like, if I have to add one more thing to my plate, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, truly, if the circumstances were like any different, I would have been like, I was super excited, but like just by the time I finished Fall from Grace of God,
Right.
which was the last show I was in before that, I was so exhausted. I was like, I am so sorry, but like my mental health is gonna tank if I keep doing this. Like I need a break. I'm glad to hear it went well.
It's very real. I've seen that happen. Like in college, actually. One of the times, one of the actors who I was working with straight up came up to me and was like, "Yo, I don't know what's. I'm like feeling dead because like I'm doing all these things. Like they were absolutely like hysterical, you know, like." I'm doing all these things. I don't know what to do. Like, I've got this. Like, it's actor burnout is real.
Yeah.
Very real. And it's
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
exactly how I felt. Yeah.
and it can be difficult to section that off because you know you're like, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to you know keep it moving, keep busy, but like at the cost of burning out.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
All right, welcome
All right.
back, Kit Kat. Okay.
All right,
Ooh,
I
Flanger's
got
got
a-
a whole bunch
Yeah,
of questions.
I got a
Alright,
question too.
Go.
Should I go first or should we do the chat?
You go first.
I
and
just got
then-
one question. I'll start off with let's see. Here's a good one. So, how many plays have you been in and directed?
Oh, geez. I don't I don't know if I really counted. Well, I guess so. I was probably in 1 show a year from the age of like 11 through to the age of like 17. So that's like
Mhm.
6 shows. And then when I was in college, I truly didn't get cast very often because I often got the criticism of, you know, you're a very intelligent actor. Like it was like a bad thing. Like I was
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
smart to be an actor.
That's a bad
Right,
thing.
like, that was constantly the feedback that I got. Then they basically were like, we don't really know where to cast you because
insane.
you look like you could be like an ingenue, but your personality is much more like like the funny best friend, and we just don't know what to do with you. You're just so intelligent.
Fuck? Yo,
Yeah, so
Wow.
That's fucking weird.
right.
That's weird. What?
That's very weird.
That's some
that
like
is not the first time that I've gotten that feedback of like I'm too smart or like intelligent, like it's an insult. And like I'm not trying to like toot my own horn and be like I'm a genius, but like that was the reasoning I was told why I wasn't cast very much in college. And while they were busy not casting me, I was kind of like, well, then I'll just learn whatever else I can because that's what I'm here to do.
Right.
So I got really into like costuming. I built costumes for probably about 8 or 9 shows while I was there. I did a lot of like anything I could get my hands on, really. So, and you would do 8 productions a year, sometimes 9 depending. I think that's right. And I would somehow work on every single one of them, whether it was stage management or assistant stage management or wardrobe or building the costumes or, just like I said, whatever I could get my hands on. And I wasn't in a play again. So I wasn't in anything my freshman year. My sophomore year, I got cast in a short play. And then my senior year, I was finally cast in, we did Anton and Show Business by Jane Martin, and I was Holly Sabay, which if you're familiar is the bitchy Hollywood movie star. And the only reason I got cast in that is because an outside director came in to the college and, cast the people that don't get cast every single semester.
Right.
And the head of the program had the audacity to walk up to me. He directed like 1 show per semester. And he walked up to me after this show and he goes, it's a real shame that you weren't cast before this. You did like a really good job with this show. And I was like, that's really funny considering you could have cast me 6 times before this.
Right.
Just a thought. So yeah, I don't know. I would say I've probably been a part of, in some capacity, dozens of shows. Like a pretty good amount at this point. Recently, I was Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream with the Live Literature Company, which tours England doing Shakespeare in different like, small towns in England.
Yep.
I played Rose in Fall from the Grace of God with American Repertory Theater, and I'm trying to focus more on like doing directing and like getting into that capacity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm very funny, and I love to direct comedy. So that's like kind of where I'm veering towards. I know that wasn't an accurate numerical answer to your question.
That was perfect. That was good. It was a very good response. I liked it.
It gives us context and it gives us and it tells us a little bit more about you, so it's fine. It's perfect.
Yeah,
perfect
perfect.
answer.
Well, cool.
All right, so Flango with the big old list of questions.
You
so
gave us
I'm
an
gonna
entire list of questions. Wow.
Chat is lit right now. So
Yeah.
let me take some of those questions before I ask my next one.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pick one because some of these I'm gonna ask myself, so I'm not gonna pick those.
Okay.
Okay. Nope. Okay.
Here's a good one. How do you rehearse a scene if the other actors you need to interact with in this?
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
Ooh, from like a director's standpoint or from an actor's standpoint, do you think?
From an actor's standpoint.
Probably actors, yeah.
Okay. How do I rehearse a scene when the other actor is unavailable? I think it really depends on where you are in the rehearsal process and how well you know the other actor. Like, I have done plays and scenes and just different rehearsal processes with actors that I know very, very well, and because I know them very, very well, I can kind of have a sense of how they would act out a certain thing, or like especially if it's a comedy and I'm like in something with my friends who are truly very funny, I will know like this is how they're gonna play this bit, so I can kind of like knowing that and having that context for things, it can definitely help to know if like, okay, well, the line that I have is setting up a bit that Ashton is going to be doing, then I know how he would react to that bit. So like I adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
If I'm working on a show with an actor that I don't know particularly well, my go-to in any situation really, and maybe this is just because I have a lot of anxiety, my go-to is to just have the entire situation memorized.
Yep.
So like not just my part, but like the other person's part too.
Yeah.
Because I've been in a lot of situations where even with actors that I do know pretty well, like everybody has like slips of the memory, or you know, just straight up doesn't learn their lines, or you know, there's like there's a million things that can go wrong, and my view on that is just to always know every single thing that's happening around you.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't necessarily know all the words, like you need to act as if you're rehearsing by yourself and there's no one else with you, in my opinion, you need to rehearse in such a way that you are anticipating everything possibly going wrong. So like I know some actors only listen, like when they're on stage, they're listening for the line that comes immediately before theirs. And they're not like on stage thinking, oh, this is the first time I've ever heard this before, and like this is how I'm actively reacting to it. They're just waiting to hear the line that they know comes before theirs.
Yeah.
And for me, that stresses me out. So if I'm not rehearsing with anybody, I will say that other person's lines like while I'm doing mine, or I'll do my lines and I'll have their lines on index cards, so that I'm memorizing the entire flow of the scene, as opposed to like my line.
Right. It is a very interesting point that you bring of reactive acting versus proactive acting, because that in this business, that is what separates you, I feel like, because you know, a lot of most if not all would, you know, especially newer actors will do reactive because they're still learning, right? They're still getting into it, but veteran actors like us, like, you know, we always lock in on, okay, I know exactly who is on stage at what time.
Yeah.
Even though I'm just an actor, I'm not even on stage, but I know who's on at what point.
Yeah.
You know? So that's so awesome, you know, bringing that point up, because that's very important. Very important, definitely. Okay, would anybody else like to add to that or ask their next question?
I'll ask a question. Well, you've already pretty much answered it earlier about that you're looking to get more into directing as opposed to acting. So I guess my original question is, do you prefer theater or film, and then directing or acting?
See, that's really interesting. So I've done a couple of like small films, short films in the area. I've done a couple of pilot series, like just a fair variety of things, I would say. And I think they're truly they are different mediums when it comes to film versus theater. I prefer theater because at least my view of theater is much more involved. Like my favorite kind of theater is immersive theater. And I love immersive theater because you are in it. And like whether you're the actor or the audience or like a stagehand, like whatever, you are it. And the world that you've created is encompassing everybody physically, not just emotionally or mentally. You know, like sometimes you can be in the theater and forget that you're watching a show, and that's great, but I love participating. So while I have enjoyed the film-based projects that I've worked on, there's something about the like okay, we'll start and then you do your acting and then we'll stop and then we'll restart it and we'll do it again, but we have to do it the exact same way with you stepping in the exact same spots and, you know, making sure your hair is right and like all those continuity things, to me, like as an actor, takes away from the joy that I get out of acting. Because for me, I love to act because, quite frankly, I don't have to be myself, you know?
Yeah.
And
Understandable.
right, and like if you are doing a theatrical production, it's much more like you get into the character, you get into the costume, you do your everything, you get on that stage, and it's not do or die,
Right.
but you know, like you gotta do it. You can't mess up. There's no room for error.
Right.
And for the perfectionist in me, it's both great and horrible, because if I mess up something on stage, I have to just keep going. I can't stop and reset and fix it.
Right.
But like, so it's like it's teaching me to be more patient with myself.
Right.
Whereas I feel like sometimes with film, it's like, oh well, I just didn't like that one. Let's just redo it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
like there definitely are good things about film that I do enjoy. But just from like a doing it perspective, I prefer theater because I'm a
Very
junkie.
nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Like
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, no, sorry. I was just gonna do the director actor thing, but go ahead.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I was about to say that kind of goes into like my next question. Like, one question I have is like, wait, what?
Hold on. First of all, everybody hydrate.
Oh yeah.
We got some redeems. Everybody hydrate.
My water bottle full of anime stickers. Harry Potter.
That's cute.
little guy.
Aw.
Very nice. Also,
Okay.
my totally not merch mug that you totally cannot buy at my store. Totally not at all.
So.
But anyway, and also one more thing, we have completed our bilingual Overcooked Co-Stream Challenge.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So basically, premise of that, because you know I'm fluent in another language.
What language?
Urdu. It's like a South Asian Pakistani language.
Yeah.
So I'll basically only be speaking that, and everybody who's playing with me has to figure out what I'm saying. It'll be great.
Gotcha.
It'll be great. All right.
You did bilingual and for a second. I was like, are we going full Spanish? Okay, puedo hacerlo.
It's cool that you say that, because we also have a question for that.
Oh yeah, I was gonna go next, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so speaking of like film, I got one right here. Like, what would be like your favorite film memory, and like what would be like your favorite theater memory?
Oh, geez. That's a wild question. Because I'm the kind of person that I am very accident prone, and I'm also I'm a danger magnet. So a lot of times things will happen to me and people will be like, how did that happen? Like, how did you get into that situation? And I'm like, I don't know. So like I have a lot of really wild, wacky like moments. But like favorite, I think one of my favorite theater moments didn't actually happen in a theater. I directed a production of Sylvia by A.R. Gurney, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's the general plot is there's a couple of empty nesters, two like roughly around like about to be retired couple, you know, like that age, and their kids are all grown and they're gone, and the husband finds himself being very, very lonely, and like he doesn't have his kids in the house, so he's like learning how to adapt to that, when all of a sudden this dog comes along and he kind of falls in love with this dog, not in like a weird way. Some people do it and they're like and it's like a whole, yeah, no, people do weird things with this production sometimes, because it's a woman it's an actress who plays the dog. And like when we did it, I designed it so that like instead of having a leash, because I was not about to put a collar around this woman's neck and have this man pull her by the throat, like absolutely not.
Right.
So we took a stuffed animal and we turned it into a backpack, like kids at Disney World, you know, and we did it that way.
Right.
But yeah, so it was a very, very fun production. But my favorite theater moment, I think, I had cast an actor in there was this role that, because there were 3 small roles that only showed up a couple of times in the show, we just combined them all into one actor. And we're like, okay, well, in the first scene, you're gonna play this guy Tom, who's like this dude in the dog park. Second scene, we need Phyllis, who is the wife's best friend. So like this person also played Phyllis. And then there was a non-binary therapist in the show too. And all the characters they appeared very independently of each other. And because it was a relatively small budget, we just put them all into one actor. And the actor who played all 3 roles did a magnificent job, truly amazing. And it was this person's first big role, and they did a really great job. And several months afterwards, this is my favorite moment, and I'll explain why in a second. This person explained to me that they are in the process of transitioning, and it was a really special moment for me, because doing that part of the show and getting to explore those different parts of themselves made it helped this person on their gender journey and figuring out things about themselves that they maybe didn't have the opportunity to before. And it was a really cool moment to be this is the power of theater, you know? It sounds really cliche to say that theater is magic and theater is very powerful, but that's not the first person that I've talked to who got to do something on stage that is different from what they would normally do, and were just changed by it.
Right.
And theater just, it touches people in a way that other things just don't, you know? And I think that if I had to pick, I know it's not a theater memory per se, but it encompasses kind of the reason why I love theater so much, you know?
Yeah.
I want to...
Perfect answer.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I'm going to read a couple of things here from the chat. Flango says, amazing responses. Thank you. And Violent Kitten says, that's really awesome. I'll answer this too, because my favorite theater moment, because theater is such a... it's great to see stuff like that, because theater is so, in a way, at least professional theater is so such a loving energy, so non-judgmental.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good, how bad, how capable you are at acting, there is a place for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Definitely,
No exceptions. And I saw this energy the first time I was directing. I was frank with my actors. I was like, look, this is my first time. I'm figuring this out as I go along. So, I hope you will be patient with me and, you will work with me. And it was great because, they would pitch in, some of them were past directors too, and they would pitch in hey, here's a suggestion, you could try this, and I would kind of weigh in and all that. And it's not just a memory, I would say, it's the experience behind it. Is the community is really loving, especially here in this city. You gotta look for it. You gotta look around. You gotta do a little bit of digging, but once you find it, it's like home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak on the inclusive theater. Inclusive theater is now my home, because of the experiences that I've had with them and the encouragement. Working with Punky, working with Telly debuting with them, which
That's
is
right.
insane to me. I still am so proud of him for.
Debut with Shakespeare, nonetheless.
I know.
I
Yeah,
know. It's insane.
Yeah, that was probably my. I gotta say this. Maybe that's probably my favorite theater memory right there. My first show, probably.
I'm gonna tell you the biggest thing that for me, which is pretty clutch, came out of theater was the fact that so I'm doing a project now with inclusive well, getting the help from inclusive like advisement. And my dad kind of has seen me go through this theater journey, and he doesn't do theater. He's like, it's not my thing. This man, right, approaches me one day and he's like, so I see your project. I want to be a part of it. And that for me was a big thing. A really big thing, because when it comes to theater, like, he's not involved at
Yeah.
all. Like he's not at all. But that was a big thing. But yeah, anyway.
I got a similar thing like that we can something very similar. It was at Shakespeare, our first show. Dragon's uncle was there, who is also someone who does not like Shakespeare, and he was just dying, laughing at it, loving it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
Punky, before I read Kit Kat's thing here, do you want to add anything?
I was just gonna throw in my favorite film memory, which is something I think we all remember, is when we were in Fredonia filming Look Up and we got the police called on.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
because
God.
For everybody listening that doesn't know this story, we were filming in this park and we were taking a break. It was a beautiful summer day. It was so nice and warm and sunny. And we were all just kind of hanging out in the park, taking a break. And some of the actors were, laying on the ground and just chilling and soaking up the sun.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, a police officer walks up and he's like, "So I noticed right away you guys aren't doing anything wrong." I guess some woman was disturbed that some kids were sleeping in the park.
Yeah.
Which,
You know,
to me, is still so funny. And the guy's like, "Don't worry, I'll tell her we got the perps." That's good.
What was going through my head at the time of that? Like, I remember me and Dragon were just by that gazebo throwing a baseball, just playing catch. And I saw the cop coming towards us, and I thought maybe it was because me and him were playing baseball and we weren't supposed to be, and like the ball went through the street.
It's a lot to play baseball.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was because of us playing baseball, but then like I see him approaching like Ellen and like you, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I quickly came over to you guys there to like be ready for what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't you, Telly? Don't you know it's illegal to play baseball in this country if you are not a professional?
Well, I know now.
So un-American.
Oh my God!
Right.
All right. Kit Kat says, I wanted to act so badly growing up. I was homeschooled, and in the state of Montana, does not allow homeschoolers to participate in school programs. I never pursued it after school, but now as a Twitch streamer, I have an outlet for entertainment, and that makes me happy. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a very good response right there.
And to your
Also
point,
fuck Montana.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Right? Also, to your point, Kit Kat, it's helped a lot with like confidence as well, because I'm not a social butterfly. This thing that we're doing right here is like something that was a process. Even acting, like it was all a process. So it's good. It was good to have this outlet too.
Yeah, for sure.
To have that happen. All right, I'll ask my next question.
Okay.
All right, where are we? Oh, okay. Here's a good one. What are 3 pieces of advice? What 3 pieces of advice do you give to a new actor or director?
Oh, like brand new, like never done a show before, brand spanking new.
Brand new.
That's a good question.
Yeah, well, yeah, because like some people, I've worked recently with people who like have taken acting lessons and things like that, and have never really been on a stage before. But like it's different if you're like really just like you're just looking to get into it. I think if you're just looking to get into it and you really like don't know the theater scene in Buffalo at all, and you like aren't you're like just not really part of the community, but like you're looking to be, I think the first thing is don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, that is a big thing that you know, like when you go to theater school, they really like pound it into you that it's like it's all about your type, and it's all about like you have to really cram your whole personality into a 1.5-minute long audition. And like if I've learned one thing, it's that realistically people will decide if they want you for their project within the first 2-3 seconds of meeting you, potentially before you even open your mouth.
Yeah.
And like, does that suck? Yeah, like especially when you know, like I've been in auditions where I walk in the room and like for Shakespeare in Delaware Park, in previous auditions, I have done monologues that are traditionally performed by male characters.
Mm-hmm.
And there is one particular person who, in that casting room, the second I say that I'm doing like Prince Hale's monologue from Henry IV Part 2, the second the words Prince Hale come out of my mouth, this man puts down his pen, and it's like the audition doesn't even matter to him anymore.
That's
Because,
Wow.
right, like there are just some people that are like that. And you know what? Don't worry about it. Because for as many people that are like that, you're gonna get someone who like is open-minded and is excited to see something different and is excited to watch something new. Like I've introduced people to ideas that are very non-traditional, and some of them get real upset because they're like, no, that's not the way it's done.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
if that's not the energy you're looking for, then don't be there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, there like you were saying earlier, there is truly a space for everybody.
Right.
And if you find somewhere where it's just not your space, find a different one.
Definitely. Yeah.
You know, there are so many theaters in Buffalo that it's like, yeah, if there's like a jackass director at one particular theater, just go to a different theater, audition with them, see it might be a better atmosphere, better directors, more positive experience. It really is just like, you know, theater isn't one size fits all. You
For sure.
have
Yeah.
to-
Right.
you have to be willing to accept that not everybody is going to like you. And I think that's
Mhm.
just, and not even that, like not everybody is going to be able to use you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not always about liking or disliking. I've done shows where it's like, man, this person is really, really great, but you know, we just don't have a role like
Mhm.
like that person would fit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really big thing that can be discouraging for people. I mean, even not even people just setting out, people that have gotten theater degrees or people that have been doing it for years. Like anybody, it can be really
Yeah.
easy to get into your head and think, oh, well, they didn't like this monologue, so now I have to go and change that monologue. Or, you know, next time I have to do this that's different, or I have to wear this or look like that. It's like the right thing will come along, and
Yeah.
when it is the right thing, you're gonna like doing it. If it's not the right thing, you're gonna be miserable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know you asked for 3, but that was my big. that
No,
was my
that's
one big one.
perfect.
That
That was perfect,
encompasses
yeah.
it. That's
That's great,
perfect.
yeah.
Also, we've got a chance to for me to demonstrate my native tongue. Telly, I have no idea how to implement this on the podcast.
Just do it for like 15 seconds, basically. Just
I am
give us a quick
not-
like overview.
I am not redeeming sing mode in the podcast. That is not
Oh.
happening.
Yeah, you can make
Okay.
this fast.
So, अच्छा, okay.
Just do like a sentence or maybe.
Yeah, I'll just introduce it, I guess. All right. ये ज़बान उर्दू है. ये ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान में बोली जाती है कभी कभार और दूसरी जगहों पे भी, लेकिन ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान में जो पाकिस्तान ऐसी जगह है जो कि जहाँ से मैं आया हूँ, मेरी पैदाइशी है, और 2009 में मैं यहाँ पे आया था. Cool. That's all I'll do.
Oh, I love that. I'm all about it. Anytime I speak another language, I'm like,
I had in my stream yesterday somebody pop in and talk to me for a whole hour in
Yeah,
in
that
Urdu.
was
It
cool.
was great. It was
Aw.
great. Dragon owes me 1,400 points. That second time he denied my request. Yeah, I'll refund it. It's fine.
You better.
Yeah, I will. I will. No, I
Okay.
will not. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see. Ooh.
Punky, do you have any questions? I think it was your turn.
Let me see. A lot of these have already gotten answered. Oh, okay, this is a good one. If you could go back in time to give your younger self some advice, what would it be?
It's a good one.
Is this so in like just any piece of advice at all, or
Probably more like theater. Like more theater related.
that's fair. I think I don't know. Anytime any question like this, like regarding anything, comes up, I am very much the kind of person where it's like I've been through a lot of like not great things, but I wouldn't be who I am or the way I am today if any one of those things was different. And I would love to be like, oh yeah, I'd go back and I'd say, you know, it gets easier, or you'll find your people, or, you know, like any of those things that would be great to say. But like, I also know who I was back then. And back then, if someone tried to pull that bullshit with me, I'd be like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm the same.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, me too.
Right. And like, I think even if someone did like say all of that to me, and if I were to take it to heart, and I did, you know, like way back then, kind of have the same mindset that I have now of like, not everybody's gonna like you and that's fine, it would have just changed who I am now, and I like who I am now. Maybe some people don't,
Right.
but all the things I've been through have made me hella funny. And I wouldn't give up that comedic genius for any advice in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
You gotta
Definitely, yeah.
Response, honestly.
right. You gotta stay true to yourself. I mean, yeah, it's a journey. You gotta, you know, you sometimes. Oh my God, Kirk.
Oh,
Hello.
yes,
All right,
yes.
hold on. We'll
Yes.
oh my God. Okay. So it's a thing. I'll explain that in a second, Rue. Anyway, so it's you know, it's definitely important to, you know, allow yourself to go through that journey of self-reflection, and, you know, of allowing yourself to something happened. Okay, stuff's happening. Sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Stuff's happening. Anyway, yeah, you know, to go through that process, and you, at the end of the day, you're better for it. You know, you come out a stronger, a more, you know, I guess, well-rounded person, I guess.
I think a more understanding person, at least in my case. I think when I was younger and I was going through a lot of things, it was really hard to see past all of that. And now that I'm an adult and I have like different things going on, it's made me a lot more considerate of other people and what they're going through. And, you know, like as unique and special as we all are in our own ways, we're really not. And everybody goes through sadness, and everybody goes through grief and confusion. And while we may not all experience those things the same way, we all experience them. So to say that you don't understand somebody who's experiencing grief or experiencing, you know, true like heartache, sadness, it's like, you know, in my opinion, it's taught me to really understand people in a way that I wouldn't have if I had lived, you know, a really charmed, perfect, you know, that kind of life.
Right.
So yeah, you know, I would just do it all the same way, pain and all.
Yeah.
What is happening in chat right now, y'all? We're really close to a hype train. Basically, what's happening is,
It's a very different vibe.
yeah. So this is all, we're like reflecting on stuff, and over here, it's like subscription, money, subscription. Like, and we're very close to a hype train, which is basically if chat gifts if 3 different people contribute, it triggers like a chain reaction of sorts.
Nice.
So 3 people. Okay, I thought it had to be the same person because I was like gifting 2 subs. I was confused.
Crazy. I am not gonna break on my own stream. That's not happening. Posture check.
Oh,
Posture
thank
check.
you, Franco.
All right, cool.
I know, I've got the worst posture of everybody.
Me too.
Can't sit up straight on the couch.
All right.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, no.
Okay, there's a lot to keep up in. Kirk, thank you for the bits. Thank you, everybody who is gifting subs. Sorry, chat is going. Can't read everybody. Ignore all the extra posture checks. That's fine. Okay, I think we're good. 5 months, Kirk. Kirk, by the way, let's go to
Level 2 hype train.
what?
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Good grief! What is happening right now?
This happens sometimes on the podcast. There's a few times where this has happened.
Oh,
This is one of them.
that
Like 2
really-
times it happened before. It's really cool.
That is the beauty of live content. Stuff like this happens. Wow, thank you guys for setting off a level 2 hype train. That's amazing. Okay, let me reshift my focus. Okay, so
Let's look at one of these questions from Flango too.
Yeah, good idea. He's got quite a lot, yeah.
Let's see. Oh my god, there's so many.
There's a lot of good ones,
Right,
yeah.
I know, it's great.
I got a lot of stories. Hit me.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so this one. What techniques do you use to create a believable character, and what was one of your hardest roles?
It's a very good one.
Ooh, yeah. I think when I'm directing, at least, I prefer directing to acting, because directing for me is. I do not have kids. Disclaimer. I do not have kids. I'm not a parent. Sometimes when I'm directing, I think, this is what parents must feel like.
I know the feeling.
Yes. Yes.
Because, like, the way I think my directing style is very different from anybody I've worked with personally, and I think it's because I've had a lot of not negative experiences while acting, but I've run into people who can be very difficult to work with. And for that reason, when I'm directing, like, I see directing as a collaboration with the actors. Because if I am the director and you are the actor, you are the one on stage, you know what it feels like to be in your body and doing the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
And while, yes, we are building a fictional character, in reality, you are still the one that's doing these things.
Yep.
So, sorry, Charlotte, my cat, is over here, just off screen, being adorable. And it's like, I would never want to put an actor into a position where they feel uncomfortable doing anything on stage. Whether it's, even if it's like, wearing pants that are a little too tight, or like,
Yeah.
I've been in such uncomfortable situations as an actor that I just would not want to put an actor in that kind of situation. So when I'm directing, I ask a lot of questions. So, like, if this most recent thing that I was working on was a short play festival, and I directed one very serious play. It was a brother and a sister, and their mother had just died, and they were emptying out her old house.
I remember that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that was
Of course.
that was
That's
my
really good.
favorite.
That was a powerful one, yeah.
Oh, well, thanks. I had never directed a drama, an in-person drama. I've done some Zoom dramas, but I primarily do comedies. So the drama for me was very odd to be working on, especially since the other one that I did was the last one of the night. It was the realtor who kept saying elf space instead of shelf space. And it was very, very silly, very wacky. It was a good time. But when we were working on the drama, because I'm not particularly used to directing dramas, and I mean, not just because of that, but that was the bigger challenge for me. There were moments where my actors would say, like, hey, my mom isn't dead. Like, how do I give this really emotional monologue that it's the final moments of the play? And he's like, how do I connect to it in this way? Because I haven't lost my mom. Like, my mom is still alive. And I think there's a certain amount of protection that you have to be aware of for yourself, because it can be very damaging to put yourself in the position of, oh, well, I'll just act as if my mother is dead, because that can bring up a whole bunch of other things. Like, as an actor, you don't need to be dealing with that shit while you are dealing with everything else, the lights, the costumes, the everything else that's on stage. But I think it's important, again, like I said before, everybody experiences grief and everybody experiences sadness. So when I get into situations like this, where I need to fabricate a seemingly genuine emotion on stage, is to just remember how it feels in your body. Because every emotion physically feels different. Whether or not you realize it, like, while it's happening, I know for me, if I'm very stressed, my shoulders inch up towards my ears, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm in a situation where I need to make that sort of anxiety look real, I'll start to bring up my shoulders the more I talk.
Yeah.
Or, I know that for me, I'm constantly doing things with my hands. So when I did the show about the runaway bride, and I had the ring on my finger, I was sitting there twisting it. And, just the act of twisting it, because that's something that I do when I'm stressed and I'm anxious, it, puts your body in that feeling, but it's not causing you emotional damage by thinking, okay, well, in this scene, I've just run away from the altar, and I'm running away from a man who is verbally and physically abusive, so I'm gonna think about the last time I was with a man who was physically abusive. That is not something that I am down for.
Right.
I am much more into, I call it emotional dupes, gaslighting your body into creating the physical version of it, and protecting your brain from having to endure the emotional and mental pain that some things can really bring up,
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are some banger answers.
They are, yeah,
for
sure.
You could literally...
I'm so glad, because sometimes I just talk a lot, and I'm like, I forgot what the original question was, and I hope that answered it.
It's fine.
I think you answered it
You
for
could
sure, yeah.
literally... I could literally upload this to to YouTube, title it actor survival guide, and it'll still work. It'll still work.
It will, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, we got some good responses in the chat here. Flango says, "Yo, she does not hold back. She needs to come back." And Kitten says, "Amazing words."
Okay, I will say this. I will go on the record, just because it hasn't been cleared up.
Okay.
REU's pronouns are they, them.
Yes, I'm
yes, that's true.
agender, and the A stands for abolish.
That's right.
There.
No, someone made that joke to me literally just today, and I was like, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So we're gonna clear that right there.
Yeah, good idea. Let's get that down, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've actually lost track of where my questions are because my pen stopped working, and I'm just and I'm kind of vibing right now, so I don't want to move.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Just eeny, meeny, miny, moe it, and I'll tell you if you've already asked me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not even going in order anymore for my questions.
I was gonna say, we've talked a lot about theater, directing, acting, all that, and
So-
another one of the things that you're really into is these gymnastics.
There we go. That was one of my
Yeah.
questions right there. There we go.
I'm like, how do they do all that?
I
Like,
know, it's so cool.
and
Yeah.
The strength it takes
Yeah.
to do all of that. So yeah, tell us how did you get into doing
Yeah.
that?
Right.
a good
Yeah,
one.
so for clarification, I go to a circus gym that is an aerial arts studio, where they provide multiple apparatuses that you can do what are essentially aerial gymnastics, but it just depends on the apparatus you're on. They offer aerial silks, which are the 2 ribbons that dangle from the ceiling, and you see people flying around on
Yeah.
those. Aerial hammock is almost the same, except instead of 2 dangling down from the ceiling, they're looped up, so it's like a swing almost. Then there's lyra, which is a big metal hoop, like a hula hoop, but if a hula hoop was steel and 6 feet off the ground. And they do static trapeze, which flying trapeze is the one that everybody knows, where like you let go and you flip off and you fly through the air. Static trapeze is a trapeze, but it's like 5 to 6 feet off the ground and just hanging from a single point. So it's more of it's a single point apparatus as opposed to flying trapeze where you're going back and forth. They also offer pole dancing, and they have like other flexibility classes and whatnot.
Right.
So I do all of the apparatuses. I do pole dancing, lyra, trapeze, silks, and hammock because I'm addicted. But when I was in college, a friend of mine started pole dancing, and I was like, that is super cool. Like, you look amazing. It looks like it'd be super fun. Like, I just 10 out of 10 all around. Seems like it'd be great. But there wasn't anywhere that I could get to. Like, she had a car and she would drive down into the city to go to these classes, which I was like poor and living on campus, and I was like, that's not going to happen. So I actually did the Runaway Bride show. One of my fellow actors in the show, she attends this gym. And she was telling me about it one day, and I was like, dude, I've been looking for somewhere to start doing this because I hate exercise. Like, anything where I, like, get sweaty and I'm, like, breathing hard. Like, I've never been particularly good at sports. I mentioned at some point earlier, I'm very accident prone. So, like, I have gotten a whole bunch of concussions. I've broken bones in the weirdest ways. Like not like the typical, like, oh, you know, I almost drowned in a swimming pool. No, I gave myself a concussion in a pool doing a flip turn. Like, who does that? Right?
Oh, no.
Doesn't make any sense, but I went to flip and my head went bam against the wall and we were done. So,
man.
exercise, not my friend. And I just wanted to start doing these things because it seems metal as hell. And I was like, that sounds great. Maybe I'll actually be able to do something physical without hurting myself.
Right.
And I went to my first silks class, and it was just the most fun I had ever had. Like, dance classes were always fun when I was doing my theater degree, but like, I'm not good at dance. I'm not good at being flowy. And with starting silks, that was the first one that I really did. Starting silks, it was like, it didn't matter if you were good. Like, kind of how we were talking about the theater energy, where everybody is really supportive, and the more experienced people are more than happy to lend a hand to the more novice people. And like, there's not a single ounce of like competition, or it's a really supportive environment. And being a person who could never really do physical things very well, it was really exciting to be able to go to this place where, honestly, a lot of the people that go, they also have a lot of like health issues and like physical things that they've had to kind of overcome to do these things. And it's really nice being in such a supportive environment and having so much fun. And then you get to go back and watch the videos and be like, oh shit, like I really did that. Like, I don't understand pole dancing. Like, I know that I do it, and I have done some, like, in my opinion, pretty cool tricks. But I don't understand. Like, I am not a physicist. I don't understand gravity. How can you just hook one leg around a pole and hang your whole body upside down? I don't know. Have I done it before? And I've done it quite a few times now? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I still think it's magic? Also, yes.
I mean, you say you don't understand gravity, and yet you seemingly defy it basically every time you be doing these things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
magic. I'm a wobbly toothpick person, and I don't understand how these things are working out. Like my instructor will be like, oh yeah, and then you just flip upside down onto the pole. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Kelly, I'll just do that. And then I do it. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're here now. It's nice because it's like being in rehearsals all the time without having the like ending depression of like the show closes and everybody goes home and you never talk to the people again. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it like scratches that itch when I'm not in shows.
Right. I've you know, it's so cool. I've actually specifically the silks thing. Always been curious about that. How does that work? What is it? Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's basically like the silks hang straight down from the ceiling, and every individual move is just a different way to wrap yourself in the silks, or like to climb up and hang from the silks, or if you're really having a wild time, you wrap yourself up a whole bunch and get all the way to the top, and then you let go and you do all these fun flips as you fall down.
Oh, that sounds
But
cool.
That's cool, yeah.
it is very cool, but you have to be strong enough to be able to catch yourself at the end. Otherwise, you just
done. Wipe out. Done.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer. Like I've had to kind of work on this, but I'm a firm believer in trying something at least once.
Oh yeah, I think everybody should do an aerial sport because I have not been more narcissistic. There's something about like going and like jumping on this big metal fucking hoop and like, you know, doing like these physical things. Like I've only been going since like June, so it's been, you know, like 9 months ish. And I can like do these things like now that I could not do before. Like we were working on this move in silks where you grab the silks and then you flip upside down and you wrap your legs in the silk like once. But then you have to squeeze with your entire lower body because the only contact you have is this one wrap around your calves as you with your hands take the silks and cross them behind your back and then pull them out in front of you. And it is incredibly difficult because you're just holding on to the...
That sounds really hard.
That's a lot of concentration, I imagine.
It really is. But when like you look at the first time I did it and I like fell on my face and then I did it like without an issue just yesterday, and that's wild to me. Like again, as a person who doesn't like to exercise, I think everybody should at least try an aerial sport because it teaches you things about your body and like about who you are that you just don't get in other ways. Like I now understand how some of my muscles work, and like it's teaching me, like I said earlier, about like taking the time to listen to your body and to know when you're pushing yourself too far, and to really just, you know, get used to being in the meat sack that you're in, because you're gonna be in it for how much longer?
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody should do aerial sports, and I will never shut up about it.
I think I've got some decisions to make about that because you've got me intrigued. Very intrigued.
Pole dancing, baby. You can put on some 7-inch heels, and like me, you'll be 6'3".
I don't think
about like us possibly doing pole dancing classes together.
I don't think anybody wants to see me in 7-inch heels. Let's be honest.
I think
you put on 7-inch heels. I literally was saying the other day, we were in one of my pole dancing classes, and I was like, I get it now. I get why all these like tall fucking cishet white men think that they're the shit. Because if I was 6'3", I would also be an asshole. I'd be like, get the fuck out of my way. I'm 6'3". You know, like I need room. Get out of the way.
That is just about the greatest thing I have ever heard. Oh my god. Ooh.
Also, you'll never feel more powerful than when you have a fucking weapon tied to your foot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did we lose our? All right. I got redeemed this because I didn't redeem it. Cool.
And there's a posture check too.
Yeah. I have a redemption where I put this thing literally straight on my head, like
This
a
is
top.
as straight as I can sit on a couch.
Yeah, cool. Good, good. Yeah, posture, good. All right. Um, yeah, all right. We're gonna take a hard left turn here. With this. Um, and we can talk about this mutually. So, what experiences did learning a new language unlock for you?
Mm.
That's wild. Okay, so like I said before, all the decisions I made in life, I made in middle school, and they're all based on revenge. When I first started learning Spanish, so the school that I went to, they only started offering Spanish when you were in 7th grade. And you could take Spanish or French, and those were your 2 options. And I was like, well, fuck French people. So I'll take Spanish. And I was really bad at it. Like, I'm bad in general at, like, remembering. I'm more of, like, a pictures person.
Yeah.
So, like, if you were, like, to live a day inside my brain, everything is color coordinated, and it's in, like, shapes and pictures, not in words. So when I started taking Spanish, I wasn't very good at it because I couldn't remember any of the words. I'd be like, I don't know, it's the word for red. And like, I really had to sit down and read the words as much as I could, as often as I could. Because if I read them a whole bunch, my brain could picture the page that I was reading and then see the word on the page. But I couldn't just say like with flashcards, I couldn't just be like, oh, one side says rojo, the other side says red.
Yep.
Like that just didn't work for my brain. So I really had a hard time in like 7th and 8th grade when I was first starting Spanish, because I just didn't have a good way of, like, the way it was being taught to me didn't work with my brain.
Yep.
And then when I got to be a freshman in high school, long story short, I have 4 older brothers, and the teachers were not fans of all of them. So when I came around, it was like, ugh, there's another one of them, you know? And like the teacher did not like me because she did not like my older siblings. And it's like, fair, I get it, like, whatever, but that doesn't mean that you have to like be a jerk to me. And she was. And so I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna get really good at this, and then you can't get rid of me. So I realized that like the way that I was studying just wasn't working for me. And I started studying in my own ways and like watching TV and listening to music and being more, like I was saying earlier with like immersive theater, when I experience things, it is helpful for me to experience it like 360, because that is like how I learn best. And when I really started doing that kind of work, I started understanding the language a lot better. And then I like actually got excited about the fact that I can like speak to people in their language and not have to be the asshole that's like, hey, can you make accommodations for me because I didn't feel like putting the effort into learning this thing that I definitely should know.
Right.
You know? And then I like got really into it, and I was like, well, now I can just talk to whoever I want to whenever I want to.
Right.
And I started taking French, and I started taking they offered an American Sign Language class at like a Zoom based class where the instructor from Fredonia would Zoom into my high school, and we would like video chat, learn ASL. And I just like, I got so obsessed with like, again, being able to speak to people the way that they speak. Like, to me, it's like there are so many people in this world who speak multiple languages, and I would love to go to other countries and go to other places and travel the world. And for me, it feels like the most logical thing. If I want to go to these places and I want to experience how they live and their culture, why wouldn't I try and speak the same language they're speaking? You know, like that's, you wouldn't have a German person come to the United States and expect everybody to speak German to them.
Right.
You know, like that's just not the way it is. And yet when Americans travel, a lot of the time they show up places and either they expect that everybody speaks English,
Right.
or they like make a big deal when there isn't someone that speaks English. And it's like,
Yeah.
you you're in a whole other country.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't go into someone's house and be like, oh, you want me to take off my shoes? No, I'm okay. I'm just gonna keep wearing them and muddy up your fucking house.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll kind of speak on that too, because I grew up with two languages, and it's really nice when you hear somebody who you don't expect speaks your language. When you hear them, it's a faster way to connect. And when I was in Nepal a couple of months ago, one thing I noticed, okay, so initially all my contacts started in English, and then I overhear somebody speaking in Hindi, which is like in its basic form, like very similar to my language, Urdu, and so I did, and you can see an immediate flip in reaction. You're like,
Yeah.
you know the language? I'm like, I'm fluent in it. I was born in it. So, and a lot of the time, it's also this, when I first came here, of course, you're gonna get those unscrupulous types who are gonna be jerks. But the craziest thing, and the first time really I saw this when I met Punky and Telly for the first time, was the curiosity in the language. Was,
Oh yeah.
hey, you speak a different language. It wasn't the case of, hey, you speak a different language? Ugh. It was more like, you speak a different language.
Oh, that's
Tell me more.
cool.
Tell me
Yeah.
more, and I know Telly even now has picked up some of my language because of that curiosity, which is
All
I
right.
just love.
I can demonstrate. Aap kaise hain? Bahut garmi hai. What I said was, first thing I said was, how are you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and the second thing I said was, it's very hot, because it
very
is. I
hot.
took my other shirt out. It's
Yeah.
getting kind of hot.
Yeah. So it just opens up so many different avenues of culture, of understanding, of closing the gap. Like, let me, like that, which is kind of what I'm also trying to do with my project, is just closing that
Yeah.
gap of misunderstanding. So
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm been doing Duolingo for almost a year now. I think I'm
Yeah.
on like 300 something days, and
Ooh.
I'm doing it because my boyfriend, he's bilingual. His native tongue is Spanish, and his mom doesn't speak any English. So I've been really, really working on trying to learn Spanish so that I can communicate with her too.
You know what you gotta watch?
What?
You gotta watch Corazon Valiente, okay? If you can, like, learn how to talk to her about a telenovela, not to generalize, but, like, so many people who speak Spanish love telenovelas, and if you watch it, you'll get why. It's bonkers. Like, so, Corazon Valiente, specifically, literally translates to Braveheart, which obviously they can't call it Braveheart because
Yeah.
they don't Google shit. So they call it Fearless Heart when they refer to it in English. But in like the first episode alone, there are explosions and kidnapping and murder and like the worst
shit.
special effects.
Oh.
The worst special effects
Oh
you'll
my
ever see. Like, you watch as like this one person will be like, I'm gonna shoot you, pew, and it like the gun's like up here, and then the person reacts like they got shot in the knee, and they like throw themselves to the ground. And you're like, what is happening? And like one episode is only like 40 minutes, but it feels like it's a whole season
Right.
because like
Okay.
so much happens, yet nothing happens. Like it's just it's so wild, and I love Corazon Valiente is my absolute favorite telenovela that I've ever seen.
Oh,
And
I
it's
watched
really
it.
it's a great way to learn, like if you put on the English subtitles and then you're hearing the Spanish and you can see like how the things line up. Consuming Spanish media is consuming media in any other language is the fastest way to learn it.
Yeah.
So it'll help
Right.
you learn your Spanish, but you can also be like, oh, telenovelas though.
Yeah.
I need-
Okay.
I need-
Thank you for the tip. I will watch that.
I need
Yeah.
somebody to learn Urdu so I can so we can talk smack about stuff.
Well, do you have any telenovelas in Urdu?
I guess maybe.
You send it to me. I'll watch it.
Okay, bet. I'll see. I'll see.
I'm down for a telenovela in any language.
It's like
honestly.
super dramatic, zooming in constantly, like those very like stereotypical Bollywood drama style
Hell yeah.
stuff, like full like After Effects. Lamau, I'm down to learn. You know what? Bet I might launch a community goal where I'll teach you guys. If
Oh,
the
yeah.
demand is there, I'll teach you guys.
We've done that a few times. That was
Yeah,
fun.
it's always so much fun, and I love it. Every time you guys use the new phrases I've taught you, please, somebody, please learn Urdu, please. Okay. And y'all have questions?
Okay.
Honestly, I think most of mine have
I
already
can-
been
okay.
answered.
I could probably go next. I have a few. Let's see. There's a good one right here. It's kind of like 2 in 1. It's like, how did you first start looking with First Look Buffalo, and what's it like directing for them?
So, about a year and a half-ish ago now, they were looking for a director for a play. It would have been a 2-man play about a younger boxer who is essentially being trained by an older boxer, and kind of the story of like, the any general like new wave coming in and like replacing the old wave, and like all of the thoughts and feelings that go with that kind of situation. The show didn't end up happening because COVID. And also I was not picked to be the director because, surprise, I don't know anything about boxing. I was kind of like, going into it, I was like, hey, so here's the thing. I want to get into directing in Buffalo, and I like don't have a lot of experience, but I like, if you were to pick me for this, I guarantee you I will work harder than anybody else. Like I will fucking go to Boxstar. There's a boxing gym just down the street from me. And I'm like, I'll just go and I'll like learn how to box. I'll like learn all the everything. I'll start watching MMA. Like
Right.
I'll do what needs to be done, because anytime I work on anything, whether I'm the director or the actor or anything, I like to be extremely thorough and as accurate as I feasibly can be.
Yep.
So that was kind of my whole thing. I'm like, I might not be the right director for this, because what do I know about boxing? I've seen Glow. I grew up watching WWE, but like that's it. We would go, like, WWE would come to the HSBC arena,
Yeah.
and would like do Christmas specials.
Oh,
And my
yeah.
brothers and
I've been to
we would
that.
go and we would wear Santa hats, and we would write the names of my little brother had like the Undertaker written on his, and I had Triple H, and who is Colby? He liked like Kane, and I liked Rey Mysterio too.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Hey.
yeah, so basically I didn't know anything about boxing, and I was very straightforward about that. And Bob was kind of like, well, you might not be the right director for this project. And I was like, no, you got that with my love of boxing, with all the ropes and the ring and the boxers.
Right.
But no, he kind of then a few months after that approached me and said, hey, we are starting a company, and we are going to have an actor's wing, a playwriting wing, and a director's wing. And like we're trying to get like a diverse group of directors and really make sure that like we have people that can tell all sorts of different stories. And so I was picked to be the youngest and only gender non-conforming person in the director's wing, at least to my knowledge. I believe it's all a bunch of, like the other directors are all either men, or there is one woman who is one of the other directors. So it was very... It was like I was very aware that I was like the youngest and the least experienced, and just generally didn't fit in with the rest of everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's been a really supportive time. We're going into the third show that I'm working on now with them, and I think there are definitely companies who would see a young director with very little experience and just be like, you know what, like, we're not, like, I've applied to direct at a lot of different places, and some companies may or may not have recently added a new rule to their director submissions that said director needs to have between 3 and 5 full-length professional productions under their belt before they're even allowed to submit in the application to direct at their theater company.
Yeah.
So that may or may not be a new rule at a or multiple theaters in Buffalo.
So where do we get the experience
Exactly.
Exactly.
Where does it come from?
It's so
Right.
frustrating.
Like, I'm like, you could just say that you didn't like my proposal. You could just say that a gender bent Hamlet isn't the direction you're going for because no one wants to see a dude Ophelia, which I think you're wrong. I think putting
I
a
would
man
love
on
to see
stage
that.
as Ophelia and depicting like men's mental health issues,
Right.
and then doing like a woman Hamlet and a woman Claudio, and like depicting like female power dynamics in that
Right.
situation, or even like fuck all the genders. Like, my main thing was that I think seeing a man portray the role of Ophelia would be wild, because in reality the character of Ophelia gets gaslit for a whole bunch of the play, and it drives her to insanity.
Yeah.
So, like, how is it that seeing a man portray that role, I don't know, whatever, they could just say that they're old fogies and they don't want to.
I for one will say I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. Like,
That's
Right?
a really good concept.
you're really telling me that this guy named Matthew cannot play Ophelia and look fabulous doing it? I challenge that theory.
Right. Well, the thing is, when the play was originally done, Ophelia would have been a man anyway.
Yes.
It
It would have been a boy, probably, like a prepubescent boy with like a higher voice, you know, whatever. And he would have played Ophelia. So,
Yeah.
like, why are you getting mad at me? Is it because
Right.
it's a woman Hamlet?
It's that's just how they
Oh,
did
man.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
There definitely are some places that are like, well, if you don't have the experience, then fuck off. But with First Look has been like, we did the short play festival, and I originally there were some directors who were only directing one play, and then other directors that were directing 2 plays because of just the way things like shook out. And I very much was like, give me 2 of them, give me 3 of them, I don't care. However you want me to do, whatever you want me to do, they'll all be the best ones. And it was a really good time, because I think even if everyone else wasn't aware that I am still a fairly novice director, I think everybody had a really good time, and all of my actors gave really great feedback in regards to, you know, like how I run rehearsals and what they thought of like the rehearsal process and everything. So it's been really nice, getting some like fun little things in here or there. I'm very tired. And if I don't direct a full length next year, I'm going to scream. But I already told Bob that, so it's fine.
Fair enough. All right, so we don't want to keep you here for too long, so we'll do like a couple more questions here, because
All right.
yeah, sorry, these things run for
They
quite
do,
a
yeah.
bit.
Okay, I also talk so much, so
That's all right. That's all
It's all
right.
right. It's all good.
Okay, let's see. Well, okay, I'll save that for last. Do you have any? Okay, no. Yeah, this one. What kind of impact do you think that theater has had on Buffalo as a city?
It's a good question.
oh yeah.
Got him.
Teaser.
Well, it's if you're talking about like the history of theater in Buffalo, is honestly like low key kind of problematic, because the reason why Buffalo really became a theater destination like in the 1800s is because of like the Erie Canal and Shays. And back then, I don't remember what his name is, Shay, whatever his first name was, basically just built a whole bunch of theaters, and the thought was in one of the what was at the time one of the largest cities in the world, right? Because Buffalo again had the Erie Canal, and it had some like just an innumerable amount of people coming through in and out of the city every single day. Anytime you get a city like that, entertainment is going to become a large thing. That's just the nature of cities. But at the time, theater was very much, for rich white people who could afford to get all dressed up fancy and go to the beautiful, expensive, luxurious building that is Shays. Like, Shays itself, you don't even have to see a show there to be blown away. Like, the building itself is magnificent. And I have to imagine that back in the times where, it was horse-drawn carriages, I'm sure that building was even more stunning.
Yeah, for sure.
But its accessibility was extremely limited for a very long time. And I think we are finally getting to a place in Buffalo where there are more stories being told, and it may have taken a very long time to get there, but now we have companies like the Varlets who do, primarily women run productions, all women casts, things like that, or places like Inclusive Theater, who gives opportunities to people that just wouldn't that would have been brushed aside before, because again, like when I went to theater school, it was all about your type, and it was all about the way you looked, and the same 12 people got cast all the time. I think Buffalo is in a very malleable time right now for theater, because there is such an opportunity to really build your own future. And I think that's something that this city hasn't seen before, at least in the terms of like the theater world, which is really nice to be a part of that as it's happening.
It's so important, that point, that malleability point is so important, because then, getting the word out to people to be like, look, the city is growing as a theater city. It's the art district. The arts and theater is developing. So you who has not ever considered theater, or has never perhaps had the opportunity to be an actor, be a director, you can make a change. And it's important, for us as actors, some of us even directors, to get that word out, to encourage and to be in this right front and center, because then people see that okay, there's younger people are getting into it, they're getting involved in these different things, so maybe I can do this too. If they can do it, if they're up on stage living their dream, then they can do it too. Like, this is a thing that, when I did my first directing gig, I kind of, taught my actors this too. Like, hey, look, don't ever consider yourself incapable. You are here for a reason. You are meant to be here. You can use this opportunity to, not only find inspiration for yourself, but also inspire others to take that first step, who may be just on the cusp of it, but haven't fully been able to commit because of, favoritism, or being shunned out because of a disability, or just their ability to perform. None of that matters, because city of good neighbors. We're good neighbors. That's for a reason.
Yeah. I got a Buffalo shirt on right now. Buffalo 316, like Austin 316, Stone Cold Steve Austin, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just a very important point too.
Yeah.
Like that this city can become uh is being shaped
Yeah.
by the very people who are, you know, by the directors, by the stage managers who may not necessarily see their role, but bigger picture,
Yeah.
you're adding culture to the city.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Well, I actually heard something very interesting recently. The circus gym that I go to held a event called Fementine's Day, and it was basically geared towards just really just helping anybody who went to feel like comfortable and sexy, like in their bodies, like whatever,
Mhm.
wherever they're at, whatever, however they present, whatever they look like, whatever, didn't matter. Just like helping you feel comfortable as you.
Yeah.
And they were doing like burlesque workshops and different like sexy dancing like salsa and different things like that. And the woman that was teaching burlesque, her name is Miss J. She's been around the Buffalo burlesque scene for like 2 decades. And she was talking about the first time she ever saw a burlesque show. And the thing that I found really interesting is she said the thing about envy and jealousy that people don't think about often. Like when you look at somebody and you think, oh, that person has that thing, I wish I had that thing. The reason why you're wishing that you could do that thing that someone else is doing is because you're seeing that part of yourself within that person.
It's true. Yeah.
You know, like you're
can see
seeing
that.
right, like you're seeing a spark that maybe you don't know that you have, but you have it and it's there, and you're seeing this other person do it, and the enviousness and the jealousy comes from, well, if that person can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
You know,
like
like
inspiration, kind of.
But
yeah, exactly.
but it's the important bit here is to, instead of, and you have to kind of do soul searching for yourself if you're feeling the envy from this,
Yeah.
because anytime you see somebody doing that, you should be like, oh, look, they're living their dream and they're doing a good job at it too.
Mhm.
It should be, if anything, it should be inspirational. It should
Definitely.
be
Yeah.
Yeah.
it should
Yeah, no,
be
for sure.
I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? See, being bilingual, like not having English as a mother tongue, the word.
It makes it appear more attainable.
Thank you.
Yeah. There we go.
Attainable. Thank you. Good Lord, English.
You're good.
All right. Telly Punky, do you guys have, or chat, do you guys have any final questions? Because we are swiftly running out of time.
I got one,
think
but
so.
I got one, but you might have it, Dragon. You know the one we always ask our guests after every episode. Do you have it?
Ooh, wait. The 5 one? The
Yeah,
number-
that one.
Yeah, okay.
I have it too. Okay.
Do you want to ask it or should I ask?
You can ask it.
All right, bet. All right. Got another curveball for you.
Here we go. This is a good one. We try to ask every guest this question.
This is a staple.
It's for
Where-
everybody, yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Fuck if I know, dude.
And that's the best response we got to the
That is
question.
the
That
best
is-
response. I love
That
it.
is a perfect answer, because like we've in the past we've gotten such like contemplative answers, and you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Like my thing has always been that I don't know what I'm gonna be doing, in June.
Right.
Like
Mhm.
the second there stops being things in my planner, that's as far as my plans go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because
It's true.
you can make all the plans in the world and you don't know what's gonna like when 2020 is when I graduated from college. So if you're counting, that's right at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
So I really didn't have a spring semester of my senior year. I didn't get graduation. I didn't get, the senior cruise, like all the things that go along with being like about to graduate. Didn't get any of them. And it's like, even if I had gotten all of those things, like even if the pandemic happened 6 months later, there were all these jobs that I had lined up, like theater jobs that I had auditioned for across the country, that it was like all these doors were open And I also like was I was kind of like doing theater things, but I also had a potential career path with my Spanish degree. I was studying to take the foreign service officer exam. So like I had these two things running concurrently that it was like, well, if one doesn't work out, at least I've got the other.
Yeah.
Right. And then the pandemic happened, and it was like slowly all those theater opportunities got dropped, and everybody realized that like we were going to be shutting down, so all these shows got canceled. And I was like, okay, well, at least I can still like take the written exam for this, and I can like do all that. Nope, just kidding. Couldn't do that. And for a person that spent so long planning, like years in advance, it was like everything came to like a screeching halt.
Yeah.
And I had a really bad panic attack the day that I found out that I couldn't take the foreign service officer exam, and they didn't know when they were gonna reinstate it because of COVID, because it was like all of these amazing things that had been about to happen for me were just ripped away for no good reason, you know?
Yeah.
And so like now it's kind of like, well, I know long term I want to end up living in Spain for a myriad of reasons, really. Amongst which is that a lot of the food in the United States makes me, to some degree, have digestive issues. And it has to do with like the pesticides and things like that in different foods, that when I was living in Spain, I didn't get sick. Like nothing. I lived there for 6-7 months, and I never was sick a day that I was over there. And then the second I came back here, it was like I started having all these issues again.
Yeah.
So I know that long term I would like to move to Spain. I've been joking recently that I'm going to run away with the circus. That's an option for me now. I know somebody who started out going to the circus gym that I go to, and now she's in Las Vegas doing Cirque du Soleil.
Wow. That's cool. Wow.
And I'm like,
Really cool.
no one in this world would be surprised if all of a sudden it was like, hey, did you hear that Ruben's fucking living in Vegas? Like, everyone would be like, yeah, how, like, am I supposed to be surprised? Like,
no.
So yeah, it's like, I don't know. I am just gonna do whatever makes me happy and go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Good
answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Good answer. Like we're on Family Feud over here.
I could not do it.
Okay. Nope. Nope. Yeah. We're like all the way out of time.
I think we pretty much hit everything on the head right there.
Yeah. So now we've been bombarding you with questions. Do you have any for us?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, geez. I don't know. Why'd you guys ask me to be on this?
We like interviewing and talking to a lot of different people, especially in like the theater community, because that's where we are. We've had Ellen on, we've had Amy and Jess on, we had Dallas on.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah.
Right. So
we just like getting different perspectives and.
I'll kind of give you a little bit of history on this, which will help me kind of help us answer this question.
Okay.
So, what was it, Telly? Was it before the pandemic or after the pandemic started?
When we started this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was in the middle of the pandemic. It was like, I'd say August 2020 kind of. It was literally me and Dragon at his old address, like in his back. The first episode was basically us in his backyard. Hill and I have a prop for this too.
Oh my god.
Actual prop. So literally us in his backyard of his old house, sitting in the backyard wearing masks, still talking into like one of those like mics you have. Also talking into a
headset mic.
Freaking PS4 mic.
PS4 mic, yeah.
Okay, welcome to Sunday Perspective, guys. And like, it's literally us. First 2 episodes, literally us just sitting in his backyard, just talking about stuff. Like the first episode, it's a very good one. It still gets brought up a lot of times. Healthy versus toxic relationships, because like, you know, that those kind of things happen. It happened to all of us really in our lives. Like, had experiences with that, and second episode, I don't remember what that was, but I remember the third episode was important because we had Punky as like a guest, and we decided going forward after that she should be a host of ours because she's one of our best friends, and our vibes really kind of just went hand in hand with that. And of course it was pandemic times, like we didn't see Punky that much as we used to
so
the previous
nice.
years, so it was for us to gather and do this. Like sometimes we do it in person, but then like when shit hit the fan again and COVID got bad again in December, like not December, I mean just in the year again, just fluctuated, like getting bad and stuff. We switched stuff over to Discord. I'm not sure what just happened there.
Rep.
I'll continue with that sentence. So we just basically switched to Discord full time for this, and we just sometimes just do it this way. So it's really just started as the two of us just sitting in the backyard just talking about whatever, and now we are just getting like friends of ours, like, and just people we know, other content creators just from all around the world, even locally too, just on this podcast talking about stuff, sharing things.
I'll add a bit to that. For us, it was like, in the middle of the pandemic, it was kind of rough. So
you hit me with that question, like, hey, I want to start a podcast. One day let's do it. And we do a bi-weekly thing because of like two reasons. One, because I used to work every other Sunday, and we just do it as an anticipation thing for people to look forward to. We don't want to do it too many times because repetition. Want to make it something special that people look forward to.
Right, but also it was also like just that feeling of wanting to reach out because you're just stuck in your house. You can't go anywhere.
That's the main reason.
And we wanted to just reach out, and this is a lifestyle podcast. It's we call it the Sunday Perspective, and we'll bring on, like Telly said, we'll bring on different people of different walks of life. You might actually, in future episodes, who knows, you may see somebody familiar again because we pick a lot of people from Buffalo. It's just that kind of, and more than that, we also want to gain something out of this. Like, I've learned something today, which is great. Every episode that you can learn something, you can take away, where chat can take away something, is a successful episode. And we'll do Christmas specials, we'll do Thanksgiving, we've done stuff on mental health, we've done stuff on current events, like we've covered Ukraine, that was one too, on kindness, on love. So really, to answer your question, is we're just kind of we're having people that we know kind of come in, talk about the experience that they've had, and their perspective, and it's just important to give different people that voice, because this is a completely different avenue of content, of because it goes on Spotify and it's also YouTube, so like a lot of new people come in and they leave. Sometimes we shed tears together, sometimes we laugh, we shed tears, like it's just that sharing experience and building that community. So that's kind of, I hope that answers your question.
I think that was a good response.
I think you're brushing off on me because I was rambling on that too.
I kind of went in the whole backstory right there.
I mean, I wanted to know why you picked me specifically, but that's it's all about me today.
It kind of is. It is,
yeah.
We kind of hyped it up all over on Instagram. We were like, hey, we're going to have a friend.
Oh, yeah.
Come to this podcast. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't.
There will be free food.
I'm glad I said some things that are helpful. I feel like I just rambled for an hour, so
that's okay.
That's all good.
Yeah, so just a couple of things before we go. Rue, first of all, thank you so much. You're a great guest.
Yeah, thank you for
Seriously, you did awesome. 10 out of 10 rambling, says Kit Kat. Yeah, that's okay. That works for us.
It's all good.
That works for us. So a couple of things I want to just kind of go over before we come off the air. Telly has officially hit affiliate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
which is basically for anybody on Spotify who knows nothing of Twitch, is basically you can now get paid via
Basically, yeah.
subscriptions. It's been
Yeah.
3 years in the making. I'm seriously so proud of you, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
3 years in the making. Like how you said, started the podcast in August 2020. That's when I started streaming on Twitch too. I tried to do every Thursday, 'cause that's a day I'm always off.
Yeah.
Just try to put out stream stuff, and I did talk about it a good detail on a TikTok I made yesterday. I didn't really stream too much last year because I had a lot of stuff going on with our shows and stuff. I was in 3 different shows last year,
Right.
and there's a lot of points where I took a break in streaming, or just other stuff came up in life. So and then I just January this year I really got back into it, just started streaming more and more, just picked up a second day, and we developed somewhat of a good schedule, and now here we are, hit the achievement the other day.
Here we are. It's been great for confidence because
Yeah,
you
for
have to, in these things you have to keep talking. You have to.
Yeah, because at first I was a little nervous to do it, and it's the same for the podcast. I remember the first 2 episodes. I remember feeling nervous for that, but now I don't feel nervous anymore. I don't feel nervous to go live on Twitch anymore. I mean, yeah.
All right. And with that, does anybody want to add anything, chat or anybody else, before we say good night? I'm gonna.
I think I'm good.
You're good. You're good. Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, if you ever want to do an episode on gender and sexuality, that is another thing that I am always down to talk about.
That's a great idea. I think we would have to do
And-
that in the future.
So I would like to, because I would like to learn about that a little bit more.
I would too, yeah.
Because I'm gonna say this. I came up from a very conservative culture, so
Same.
I had to learn a lot of things that I was ignorant about, and even to this day, I gotta learn things.
Yeah.
So that would actually be a really good episode. I will get
I would enjoy
in
that,
touch
yeah.
with you on that.
That would be great.
Pickles. Kirk says pickles. Do you like pickles?
You want ranch pickles, Kurt? Ranch pickles?
Ranch pickles.
All right, so here's the thing. Here's where it's at, my guy. All right, number 1, you take a regular old, Clausen good-ass pickle, and you take ranch powder, the kind that you would get in, a little packet, or if you're me and you buy it in bulk, it comes in one of those, Parmesan cheese shakers,
Yeah.
And you just dump a bunch of that into a jar of dill pickles, and you let it sit for, an hour, minimum, and you get ranch pickles, and they're so they get the soury,
Oh
and
my
they get
god.
if you I mean, I could also put you on to ranch jalapeno poppers, which are also one of my favorite
Oh.
sauces. You take jalapenos and you slice them boat ways, boat, not both, boat way, and you take cream cheese and you mix it with shredded cheese, and then you dump in a bunch of ranch powder, and then you put it in the jalapenos, and you put it in the air fryer for 5 to 7 minutes, and right before it's done, right when the cream cheese is getting a little bit brown, you sprinkle some extra cheese on top, and you put it back in, and the cheese is so crispy.
This is the Kirk effect taking in place. We have this thing where a Kirk will almost every time ask me this, will say this to me: "Take me out to dinner, baby." That's our thing. That's and it starts a whole conversation about food. It's great. It's great. Kirk doing Kirk things. I love it.
I'll talk about stoner foods anytime.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
And ricotta cheese. See, I don't tell you
No,
shut
that's wrong.
shut up. Oh my god.
I don't know.
This
We're
is
not
cool.
friends anymore because you can't use ricotta cheese with jalapenos. That's not the same.
No.
It's not lasagna.
I don't do cheese at all. Honestly.
I don't like
You should. You're making a mistake.
I mean, okay. I'll eat it with
told that before.
I'll eat it with lasagna with things.
Well, it's on
But,
pizza.
But yeah.
But
So
have you ever had good cheese though, dude? Like a nice 6-month manchego or any sort of brie.
so, would you hate me for saying this? That I don't like the texture of cheese. I don't like
Well, I'll just log out. Are we done? Are we wrapping it up? How do I get out?
Oh my god. No,
Which
no.
texture? Because cheeses have multiple. There's soft cheese, there's medium cheese, there's hard cheese.
I don't know.
What's your problem?
I'll do it. I do it in food. I'll take it any day in food. But by
But,
itself,
like, is it all cheeses? Have you had like a nice soft melt in your mouth brie? Do you not like fondue?
what's fondue?
Oh, what?
Talking my pizza.
Oh my god. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm not.
Oh, Kitten says fondue. Not do this to me, Dragon.
Oh my god. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I'll have it. I'll have it with like.
Kirk just says now, oh well, all this from just pickles.
Oh my god.
Dude, I could tell you more about pickles.
We need some of that pickle lore.
We can do a whole episode on pickles.
Yes.
Food. Sunday perspective. Food.
Yeah, Prismo's pickles, baby.
Well, I'm gonna hear about my dislike. My intolerance for cheese later. That'll be great.
Yeah,
been hearing
it's
it my
a you
whole
problem,
life.
and I don't feel bad about it.
Congratulations, we broke Dragon.
I tend to have that effect on people.
It happens a lot on this channel.
One of my favorite bits is when people don't laugh at a joke I deliver. I look at them and I go, "That was funny. You should have laughed harder."
Oh my god, I'm dying. That was great. That was great. Oh my god. Whew.
I'm never gonna forgive you. I'll give you 0 stars on Yelp.
Oh, rip. Yikes.
Say it.
I'm just gonna open Yelp and all the reviews are just gonna be like, does not like cheese, does not like cheese, does not
Can
like.
you put a podcast on Yelp?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a thing, is it?
I don't think so. I think
Probably
Yelp
is.
businesses.
You know what
Yeah.
though? You know what though? You could rate on Spotify. I think you could. There's a rating system on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Or
well,
App-
that one actually matters, though. It wouldn't matter if I rated you 0 stars on Yelp. Just like it wouldn't matter if I made a whole Wikipedia page about your podcast and did it all with false information.
Oh my
Well, yeah,
god.
possible.
Yo.
I don't know why that was apparently a threat that I now am pursuing, but there we go.
Is this it, guys? Am I getting canceled over cheese? Is that
So.
what's happening?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Every bitch in the world named Brie is now hot on your tail.
Hey, I know one. She's my cousin. Don't mess with her.
Oh yeah, the Brie that I know is always hot on everybody's shit. So,
Oh my god. Who knew cheese would be the death of me? I love it.
yeah. Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
That's right.
Hey, Dragon, I'm with you. I hate cheese more than you do.
I'm gonna just send out a tweet tomorrow. Just be like, so guys, I guess I got canceled. No explanation. No explanation.
Oh, it's gonna be funny. Like, what if one of my friends sees it? Like how they saw your horse picture that you used to have. It's like this one time he like made his profile picture on Twitter like a picture of a horse with of Voldemort's head, and one of my friends followed Dragon and they probably saw that and they're probably thinking, wait, what is this guy doing?
Yeah. I might have that picture if I can.
If you have it, look for it.
Pull it up real quick. Cause Rue, you want to see this chaos? Trust me. This is all chaos.
I could tell the backstory if you want.
Yeah, that's up to you. It's a Voldemort head on a horse.
Respectfully, I disagree. No, thank you.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So,
That's an upsetting image.
right.
So Voldemort, cheese, pickles. I mean, how do we get onto this tangent?
I
I
don't know.
can-
Can we just call him a monster and move on?
Oh my
I think so,
god.
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh well, I'm gonna
Monsters
wake
and
up tomorrow. My Twitter feed's gonna be blowing up. That's great. All right. Well, And on that wonderfully chaotic note,
Not long to get there.
yeah,
No.
right? So we're not gonna raid out tonight. We don't do it on podcast night. So yeah, do we want to outro together, y'all?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Well, everybody, Rue, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the podcast. My name has been Dragon. With me, as always, I've had Punky.
Good night, everybody.
And I've had Telly.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody, be safe. Ready? Be
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah. Be safe.
Take care.
Take care.
And we
And we
will
We'll
see
see
you
see you
next time.
next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.
Okay.